Good morning. Today our group will present about She Style Her Power. So these are our team members, including Bảo Trân Lan and Vĩnh Lộc Yvonne and Hoàng Trung. The organization, which is Style Her Power, or She, their mission is to support girls and women in Togo by tackling two big challenges: access to education and fair employment. So today we will discuss their solutions, including free school uniforms with job opportunities for women, and then suggest how it could be adapted and scaled in Vietnam. From here, I will let Lan to handle the problem part.
So hi, my name is Langan and I will introduce for you guys the problem part. In rural Togo, many girls drop out of school early. The biggest reason is because of the poverty. Family can afford for the required school uniform, and 69% live below the poverty lines. Girls are often shamed and sent home if they don't have the right clothes. Another reason is menstruations. Most schools lack pads and toilets, so girls miss class. About 1 in 10 across the sub-Saharan Africa, and some drop out entirely. Girls also do the most of the housework. Some wake up at 3 and 30 a.m. for chores, making school nearly impossible to them. So what is the impacts? Only 1/3 reach the junior high, and many are married young. This limit their future, keep family in poverty, and leave few women as a leader, teacher, and doctor. The environment suffer too. Uniforms made from the synthetic fabric often end up with the landfills, creating the microplastic pollutions. Poor sanitation increase health risks and pollute the water. Globally, the fashion industry, linked to the issue, create 92 million tons of the waste every year. Togo become one of the dumping ground. The second problem is that women in Togo are cut off from the economic opportunity. So why? Because of the education gap is massive. On average, Togolese women receive only 3 years of schooling, and more than half are illiterate. Only 20% finish the primary school. Without education, most women can find a formal jobs before she empower begin at work. 25% of the women seamstresses had never been to school, and not have a contract, bank account, and retirement plans. Even today, only 25 of the women in Togo have access to bank account. That means that they have a little control over the money and even less over their future. The impact is massive on family, the economy, and globally. In 2014, Africa lost over 100 billion because the girl wasn't educated, and the environment suffered too. Use of gold are dumped into the plate like Togo, polluting river and farmlands. Farmers face the climate disaster, but they don't have the tool or training to adapt. Where girls can learn, women can earn. The make affect at all. Next, Vân will help me to explain the solution.
Thank you, Lan, for the information. Now I'm going to look at how she tackles the root issues. So the organizational strategy is built on 3 pillars: empower girls, creating economic opportunities for women, and ensure financial sustainability to drive holistic community growth. This integrated process tackles deep-rooted challenges with lasting impact. In rural Togo, 2 main issues stand out: girl limited access to education and women economic exclusions. She addressed this with 2 key strategies, which are providing free uniforms and educational support for girls, and offering dignified employment for women. So let's explore how this works. Starting with the first strategy, many girls are kept out of school simply because family cannot afford uniform, along with the cultural stigma around menstruation and the lack of sanitary products. She's given out free girl uniform. These are cleverly designed to adjust as kids grow, so they last longer and save families from having to buy new ones every year. They're also covering school fees, providing supply and tutoring, and even reusable menstrual pads to have girls stay in school without fear or shame around the periods. And this really worked. In 2022, she supported 1,500 girls, and over 99% passed their classes, which is 40% above the national average. This helped delay early marriage and gives girls more options for the future and support the gender equality. This outcome aligns perfectly with SDG 4 and 5, focus on equality, education, and gender equality, while also support the people pillars of the triple bottom line as education contributes to community development. She's impact is not just structural, it's environmental too. The growing uniform lasts longer, reducing textile waste, and the reusable menstrual pads replace disposable that can take centuries to decompose. In place with limited waste management like rural Togo, this makes a real difference. It's also aligned with SDG 12, promoting a more sustainable consumption. Now I will let Lot continue with the second strategy.
Thank you for introducing me. So I'm moving on to the second part of the strategy. It is job creation for local women in a country where only 1 in 5 women finish primary school and most don't have formal work. So she hired them as a seamstress to make the very product used in their program. So they earn 75% above the minimum wage and receive the benefits like maternity leave on care. On top of that, 10% of work time is set aside for learning financial and literacy skills. So, and the result, where the seamstress opened a saving account within the year, some even bought a land or motorbike. This kind of economic empower help break the poverty cycle and support like SDGs on the decent work and show how she put the gateholder theory into action and treating women as central to their mission. They also reinvest in the revenue back into the production, creating a self-sustaining loop that benefits both a community and environment. Once again, aligned with the SDGs 12 and the planet pillar of the triple bottom line. So now let's talk about C ensure how long-term impact through financial sustainability. C isn't just relying on donation, they run a hybrid funding model and relying on donation from organizations like the Swahab Foundation on one side and generating revenue through product sale on the other. So moving on to the business model canvas. So how everything connects their value come making education and the health more accessible and their key activity like production, education, relevant and keep a mission going. So because the model is lab list, so the model is modular and rooted in the community, the scalable too. With the right partners, she could expand to other parts of the West Africa where girls and women face similar challenge. So this multi-stream approach to ensure she not entirely depend on donation, which enhance the financial sustainability one pillar of the triple bottom line in the profits. In short, she holistic approach creates ripple effect on the chain. So moving on to the Zoom part for recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you for providing us useful information about She Solutions. And to building on the success of She Solutions in Togo, we now turn to how this work can be scaled up in Vietnam. Firstly, we propose expanding She's model to two provinces, Cao Bang and Quang Ninh. Cao Bang has over 45,000 children, and an estimated 36% of them are from poor or near-poor households. And right now, with over 70,000 poor households and more 18% of its population living below the poverty line, these features show how strong potential for She to create lasting impact. Secondly, to scale effectively in Vietnam, she should partner with three key stakeholders. First, the MOET. Their official recognition will give she access to national school system, making it easier to integrate free uniform and menstrual hygiene program into school. And second, VNW, with strong networks and decades of experience in women's health and education. And thirdly, Mekong Plus, a rural NGO that lets education and financial support, having she reached the most undeserved areas. Now, let's look at a strong example of scalability in action, the Room to Read case study. The Room to Read partnered with a masterclass with an MOET to launch a girls' education program. The program taught life skills like confidence and time management, connected girls with female mentors, and engaged families and communities to build local support. And this shows how partnerships can create scalable, lasting impact across. With how she applied the work, there are two ways. First, making woven uniforms. We co-design a family style that is culturally appropriate. White short sleeve blouse and navy sleeve skirt. The fabric blend, 60% organic cotton and 40% recycled polyester, was chosen for Vietnam. The second way is apply back to learn model in Togo. To bring this model to Canva environment, we recommend some key changes. Instead of offering a 75% wage uplift from the outset, she could start with a 50% increase above the local minimum wage, 3.86 million down to 5.79 million down per month. The reason of starting with a 50% is that she can track resources closely and lower financial risk that is important for small scale. Finally, the jobs offer will focus on garment and uniform production assistant, and these are paired with a 10% path to learn training with core sex and health education and advanced sewing techniques and quality control methods. And next, John will tell you us about the lesson learned and encouragement policy changes.
Thank you, Tom. Now let's look at key lessons and policy change. Address financial barriers directly is key. Togo show free uniform work. In Vietnam, this should include textbook, supplies, and stipend for vulnerable families. Next, mental health management is vital. Providing reusable hygiene kit, proper education, and better sanitation in school. Ensure girls stay in school with confidence and dignity. Third, we must create employment through models like pay to learn. In Vietnam, rural sewing workshops that offer adult education during work hours that can empower women long term. So this lesson call for strong policy change, a dedicated school budget like for low-income students, policy support women job access and recognizing unpaid care work, and mental health education added to life skill from grade 5. Implementing this lesson and policy can significantly boost the impact of initiatives like SHE. And lastly, in conclusion, study her empower tackle educations and economic barriers for women rural with comprehensive solutions, providing educational support and job, create grow uniform, she support learning costs and produce sustainable product building pay-to-learn models. This work directly contribute to key sustainable development goals. They aim to scale impact by expanding to vulnerable province and collaborating with key stakeholders to broader reach and sustainability. And thank you for listening.